Can you imagine a young girl in her 20s and 30s going through gut-wrenching catastrophe after catastrophe with no end in sight? Can you imagine this young lady looking for help everywhere she turned, asking questions, trying to get somebody to help her, and nobody was there? Can you imagine her saying, "When is this going to end?" And her not having an answer for it. Because every time she turned around, there was something going wrong. There was something being broken. There was something that was just not happening the way that she needed it to happen. And all of a sudden, that thing that she feared the most happened. You see, this young lady, she made one decision, lost $500,000 and ultimately everything that she owned in the blink of an eye. This young lady was priding herself on being the star student, getting straight A's all the way through high school, getting the dean's list, the principal's list. She was the one that was always the head of the class. And she was okay with that because that's what she did for herself. She made sure that she was sticking out everywhere she went, because she couldn't settle for second. First always had to be the thing that she needed the most because she prided herself on being able to do that. So can you imagine always being first and now you lost it all? Now there's nobody there to help you, to show you what you need to do and how you need to do it and how quickly you need to get there to get back up. It was that day that became the blessing of a lifetime. And somebody said, "How can you lose it all and it become the blessing of a lifetime?" Because I realized that that's what probably needed to happen. You see, when you get so comfortable because you've established yourself and you've made something out of yourself from nothing, you start to realize that, oh, I got it going on. We done moved to the other side of town. We got a big house. We got a couple of nice fancy cars. And you feel like you had conquered some things really good. And so all of a sudden you go on coast mode and you're gliding through life and you're feeling like you got it all together. And then when you fall flat on your face, it's like, what am I going to do and how am I going to do it? You see, that young girl, that was me. I can remember when I lost everything and I'm like, Lord, what am I going to do now? And you don't hear anything. So I figured out that I could do the one thing that I knew how to do. And then no, it was not something strange for some change, okay? But I did. I did go back to corporate America because I left corporate America to become an entrepreneur in my early 20s. You see, when all of this stuff happened, I felt like because I'm getting an earlier start on being a successful entrepreneur that I had it going on. Little did I know that somebody wasn't in my ear saying, "Girl, your contract need a contract. You need to diversify those bank accounts. You need to make sure that you're overseeing every step of the way of everything that's going on about your business." I realized quickly that somebody else wanted my business more than I did. And because they wanted it all, I didn't know what I didn't know. And when nobody else was there, I'm sitting there looking for ways for me to get out of the challenges that I was facing. You see, when I was going to school, I was so programmed because, that's what we do, right? And I'm going to prove it to you on today. Because when we're going to school, they like to say stuff like, "Lindsay, pay attention." They like to say, "Dr. Marcia, I'm going to need you to color within the lines, please." They like to say, "Dr. Shavana, I'm going to need you not to talk so much in class and pay attention." That's what they like to tell us to do. However, I realized that probably was my problem because I was so programmed. And let's just talk about this. I'm going to need y'all to help me for just a moment, okay? Because when you're so programmed, you seemingly know how to help the next person out. And how I'm going to prove that on today is I need you to finish what I'm getting ready to start. The best part of waking up, the wheels on the bus go. Round and round. Yeah. Round and round. Let's go. Round and round. Programmed. That's what I'm talking about. You see, I had it down pat. I knew that the best part of my morning would be Folgers in my cup because I needed that caffeine to get me going. I knew that in grade school, if I could finish the nursery rhymes on the wheels on the bus, that I had something going on. And you see, I went through that with life. And see, when we go to school, when we go to college, they program us to say, you need to get good grades. You need to go out there and you need to find a good job, something that you can take some money, you can set aside, you can retire, and then all of a sudden you're on your way to being a millionaire. That's what they tell us. But does that really work? Because I will tell you right now, $1 million is not what it used to be. You go out there, as soon as you buy a house, as soon as you buy your car, as soon as they take out them taxes, tell me how much is left over, right? So nowadays, I've learned that we've got to do something different. And one day I can remember after all of this had been said and done, we got reestablished, we moved across town, and one of my sons came up to me and he asked the question. And we had to have the talk. And people like, what you mean, the talk? You know, we say the talk. We talk about birds and bees, right? No, we was talking about money. He was like, Mom, how is it the fastest way that I can become a millionaire? I was like, ooh, it's about to be on, right? Because how many children ask those questions? So I knew that when I went through that I had to do something different. You see, I learned that when you are a child, you start to appreciate those things that as an adult that you did not get as a child. And so for me, if that was money. You know, the two things that they don't teach us in school is money and mindset. And why is that? Because they want us to color inside of the lines. Well, I'm not a color inside the lines kind of girl. What about you? Are you color inside of the lines? Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So I knew that even though I had to go back to corporate America to make some money, to take care of my babies, get some insurance, make 6 figures, and do all of these things, I was okay with that, right? I didn't have the time to fall apart. When I lost everything, I didn't have the time to sit down to say, woe is me, and all of that, right? I just knew that I needed to get back up and do something, and so I kept it moving, right? I didn't have time to grieve. I didn't have the opportunity to say, you know what, I'm going to take some time off. Really? And you got to eat the next day, right? You need a roof over your head. So when I was going through this, I was purposefully intentional about making sure that I gave my children the best opportunity that they could have. The first thing I told them was that this situation today, we would never have to go through this again. And so when you set yourself up for that, all of a sudden you find that things just all of a sudden come back together. You see, when you lose it all, you become fearless. You learn how to say, you know what, I'm going to take a chance on me. How about I just bet on me for a change, right? Because when we show up at these people's job, we're saying that we are going to receive a paycheck and we expect them to show up after we put our work in, right? So with that being said, when he asked me the question, I said, there's only 3 ways that you make money. Those 3 ways are this. The first way is we show up to our jobs. We work those 40 hours. We do a really good job, mumbling, grumbling, complaining the whole way, but we expect that paycheck. That means that you are putting in the work necessary in order for you to receive income. And he was like, oh, that's all I got to do? I was like, for maybe $1 million. You know, I need to understand what it is that you're trying to do. He was like, well, I'm trying to be like, you know, a billionaire or something, right? I was like, okay, we can do that, right? However, you're never going to do that when you're working for somebody else because they put a ceiling over you. You're only going to make the money that they give you the opportunity to make, and they put a value on you based upon the work that you're doing. So is that okay? Is that good enough for you? Is that all you want? And he was like, no, that's not going to work for me, because he didn't like the color inside of the lines in kindergarten. So you know how it is when they don't do like you need them to do. They don't get the ABCs. They don't do the 1, 2, 3s. You pop in their hands and you scolding them, and you're saying, I'm going to need you to get it together. Programmed. And so I said, son, the second way that you get to make money is now you start to leverage your opportunities and you build yourself a team. And he was like, oh, I get a team? I was like, yes. He was like, but what happens if I don't have no money? You still get a team. And he was like, well, how do you do that? I said, let's think about this for a moment. I said, you have knowledge and you have education, the two things that people cannot take away from you. They can take your money, they can take your houses, your cars, they can take all of that, but they cannot take who you are naturally on the inside. I said, so if you start there, right, find you some people that you can mentor. Right? Get you about 10 of them. He's like, 10? That's a lot. I was like, yes, you need about 10. And look at it this way. I said, with those 10 people, you can take that knowledge and that education and bring them under your wing. And now you can duplicate yourself and start teaching them what it is that you do. I said, can you imagine having an army of 10 of you out there just as hungry as you are? They want to go out there and they want to kill it. They want to become millionaires. Can you imagine how much money you can make? I said, you just went from $10,000 a week to now $100,000 a week because now you got 10 foot soldiers. He's like, ooh, that's good. And I'm like, all right. I said, okay. I said, that's going to get you a little bit closer to your goal, right? I said, so let's get to number 3, because number 3 is going to change the game. And I promise you right now, I'm going to need y'all to be taking some notes on number 3, okay? And number 3 is where your money makes money for you. And he said, wait a minute now. You mean I got to put my money out there? I said, you looking at a lady that lost everything, that don't care nothing about falling flat on her face, don't care nothing about if things go wrong, if things don't look right, if it don't work right, if it don't show up the way that I needed to show up. I don't care nothing about that. I don't care who looking at me. I don't care how they looking at me. I don't care if they talking about me. None of that kind of stuff. I said, don't you know that money act the same way? Money don't get tired. Money shows up 24/7. I said, money don't complain. It don't talk about you. It don't talk back. It don't do none of that stuff. So when you put money out there, it's just going to continue to go for you. It's just going to continue to flow for you. And so when I said that you need to master number 3, and he said, how do I do that? I said, learn how to just not invest, but learn how to master being a master investor. I said, learn how to take your money and put it out there in the marketplace. I said, why is it that millionaires can go broke today and in 3 years they'll be back on top? I said, because the knowledge and the education that they have, when we change our mindset, when we change the way that we look at money, it does not matter when you put it out there. And so when you put your money out there, all of a sudden it wants to come back to you, right? So today, when I think about money, when I think about the place that I am today, being a serial entrepreneur, helping other entrepreneurs master their voice, and helping them to create a platform that helps other people. Those foot soldiers that we were talking about in number 2, this is what we do. We create people or help organizations come under the leadership style of where their money makes money for them. You see, in number 1, people go out there and they spend 90% of their times in active hours recovery, meaning that you're working for your money. And in number 2, you learn how to diversify yourself by getting a team. So therefore, you spend 40% of your hours, or we'll say 60, because some of us are overachievers, right? I know, overachievers, right? So we spend 60% of our time working for our money and 40% on the team. So in number 3, we don't even think about any of that, because we have the business established. We have the team established. Now we put our money out there and let our money make money for us. And so when money starts to make money for you, we call it pillow. We go to sleep at night. We rest real good, knowing that when we get up in the morning, we're going to see that those commas in the bank account, right? We're going to see those zeros, because I'm at the place where I need my zeros and my commas to have some babies, okay? I need them to multiply. I need them to divide. I need them to come out on top. Matter of fact, they need some cousins. Y'all want to be some cousins? That's what I'm talking about. Let's build a family. Let's build an army of where we now take our money and let our money make money for us. We no longer sit there and worry about who's thinking about what we're not doing, how we're not doing it, people pleasing, all of that kind of stuff. It don't matter no more. And when you start to get that mindset, you'll start to say that, you know what, let's go. What we doing, how we doing it, you'll be willing to bet on somebody else now so that you can get the interest off of that. When I say money make money for you, you put your money out there and you figure out how it's going to come back to you. But you don't want it to just come back to you. I don't want to give you 100 and you give me 100 back, because that's not good enough these days. I need that 100 to come back and it be 1,000. Okay, I need my million to go out and it needs to be 10 million when it comes back in, right? So when we start to learn how money works, I don't care if you're a CEO, I don't care if you're an executive, I don't care if you're a leader, I don't care if you're a mompreneur, it works. And so you don't even have to question whether or not it works. I'm here to be living proof to tell you that it does. And because of that, and that I know that it works, I'm just saying, let's do something. Let's change up the way that we function in society. Are you okay with going to work for somebody else every day? Is that just enough? Are you okay being an entrepreneur? And if you are okay being an entrepreneur, be the best entrepreneur that you can be. You got to know that you know that you know that you are the best that there is out there. I don't care if we all do the same thing, because we all going to eat, right? There's too many people out here for us to not say that we don't have an opportunity to be successful, that we don't have the opportunity to be somebody and really help others to change their lives. And I will tell you this, that when we figure out that we can help others as much as we can help ourselves, this is where change really happens. Change don't really just happen just for us. Change happens for other people. And I'm just saying that I'm in the place of where now we're creating foot soldiers of leaders, those change makers that's really out there ready to change the world. You got a business idea? Let's talk about it. Let's put it down on paper. Let's see how we can get some investors to make your dream come true. Because now we've been out there and so conditioned, so programmed to make other people's dream come true. What about you? You ready to take your power back? You ready to make some things happen? That's what I'm talking about. Let's give ourselves a round of applause, because I just believe that today is a good day for you to get started. I don't care if you're already a millionaire. Let's make generational wealth, right? The kind of wealth that says that 10 million is not enough. Right? I need 100 million, right? Because 100 million, you can't really mess that up. You can mess up 1 million. You can mess up 5 million. Sometimes you can even mess up 50 million. Ask professional athletes. They go broke within leaving the league in 3 to 5 years. So I'm just saying that you just got to know that you are in a good place right now. So if you're ready to go, I'm the CEO and founder of Inside Inspired Women, where we help breakthrough millionaires create the life of their dreams by owning the power of their voice, creating platforms to help other people that really allow them to live the life of their dreams. And what did I say? I need my commas and zeros to have some babies and grow some cousins. Thank you. My name is Dr. Tabatha Russell. You can reach me at drtabatharussell.com.